Election Day will be here before we know it. Ahead on Face the State, 51 days and counting until the big day. But you can start voting sooner than that. We'll have the key dates to know ahead of this critical election. We're talking to leaders of two organizations working to educate and engage voters. How they do it, the trends they're seeing, and how they help people who face barriers to voting. Plus,
in Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating...
Discredited claims amplified by former President Trump brought Ohio into the national conversation. 10 TV went to Springfield to hear from state and local leaders, people who live there, and an organization helping the large number of immigrants who now call the city home. And cutting the ribbon on a new project to filter Ohio's water naturally. It brings the total to nearly 200 projects like this across the state. Why Governor Mike DeWine calls wetlands a win-win-win. Thanks for joining us for Face the State. I'm Doug Petcash. The closeness of the last presidential election drives home the point that every vote does count. As you know, one way to make sure your voice is heard is to vote. Consider this: Ohio's population is a little less than 12 million people. Of those, more than 8 million are registered voters. According to the Secretary of State's office, nearly 6 million Ohioans voted in the 2020 general election. That's a voter turnout of 74%. More than 600,000 voted in Franklin County alone. The presidential race is, of course, the big draw this election, but there are so many other key races and issues on the ballot. The hotly contested U.S. Senate race between incumbent Sherrod Brown and Republican Bernie Moreno, plus congressional, legislative, and state Supreme Court races, the redistricting ballot initiative, and local bonds and levies. Here are some of the important dates to remember leading up to the November election. Military and overseas absentee voting begins this coming Friday, September 20th. The deadline to register to vote is October 7th. Early voting begins the next day, October 8th. And then Election Day is November 5th. You can get voter information on the homepage of 10tv.com or voteohio.gov. That's the Secretary of State's website. Secretary of State Frank LaRose told me the state is always looking for poll workers. He says they need 30,000 of them across the state to run the election. LaRose also emphasized a couple key election reminders: the voter ID requirements and the registration deadline.
But if you only show up for presidential elections, then the photo ID thing may be a bit new for you. The fact is, you got to have a state government issued or federal issued photo ID. That can be a state driver's license, a state ID, a passport, a military ID like the one I carry. You can get that full list at voteohio.gov. You can do your research at voteohio.gov as well. Make sure that your voter registration is up to date. That voter registration deadline is October 7th. You've only got until then to update your address, maybe get registered if you're not already, and maybe remind a young person, somebody in your neighborhood that turned 18, maybe one of your own kids or grandkids, that it's time to get registered to vote.
Speaking of that, two organizations working to educate and engage voters are the League of Women Voters of Ohio and the Columbus chapter of the Lynx Incorporated. Jen Miller is the director of the League of Women Voters in our state, and Davia Stevenson is the chair of National Trends and Services for the Lynx. Thank you both for being here today.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, Davia, first of all, if you could explain to us, what is Lynx Incorporated?
Yeah, sure. The Lynx is a premier international women's organization, professional women of color. Started about 77 years ago in Philadelphia. Group of friends, 9 friends who wanted to do more with their lives, who wanted to affect their communities, transform their communities. The Columbus chapter is one of the heritage chapters. We'll be celebrating our 75th anniversary next year.
1950, right?
Yeah, 46 was when the national organization was founded. And we operate in about 5 areas: health and human services, services to youth, National Trends and Services, of which I am the chair, the arts, and what am I missing? International Trends and Services. Thank you. Come on now. Okay. You did your research.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Thank you, Davia. And Jen, how would you explain what the core mission of the League of Women Voters is?
It's quite easy. Our mission is to make sure that every eligible Ohioan has the tools and knowledge they need to participate in their elections and make their voices heard year-round, including as advocates.
Davia, what has Links been doing to engage with voters, and do you do voter registration drives and such?
We are very much focused on voter registration. Till the deadline, then we'll pivot to getting people to the polls. But we've got a great partnership with the League of Women Voters, where we've done this poster project. I think you've seen this. That is in the Columbus Public Schools, the libraries, the rec centers, YMCA, and a number of agencies where people are going to be spending time and can have their
Here we can.
yeah, you can show it to you.
For the camera,
There's a QR code that
right down here,
right down there, that links you to the voting site, the state. What is it? Good grief! The Ohio
League of Women Voters.
No, Secretary of State. Thank you, Secretary of State site.
VoteOhio.gov.
VoteOhio.gov, where you can register and/or confirm your registration.
That's a great way to do it. Jen, same question to you. What has the League of Women Voters been focused on at this point leading up to the election in terms of engaging with voters? Is it registration drives or is it more education?
It's all of the above. So we have thousands of volunteers across the state, and we love partnerships like the one we have with the Links. We have voter registration drives happening at social service facilities, at colleges across Ohio, many different things in that regard. We also are working a lot on educating people on their rights at the ballot. So making sure that they know their eligibility to vote, that they know how to vote, recruiting poll workers, and many other issues.
We heard we need a lot of them, don't we? Davia, so what are you seeing in terms of interest in this election, and what are the issues maybe people are telling you when you're at these events?
Yeah, there seems to be quite a growing interest. There's a lot of press, right? This election is in the news a lot, and we're trying to reach those voters who may feel somewhat disaffected. So I'm seeing an increase in interest. One of the things I enjoy most with this QR code is talking to people who want to check their registration, who don't know if they've changed, they've moved or what have you, and they want to engage the process, and they don't know. And so that's been satisfying. In partnership with the League, we've gone to high schools and talked to students who will be turning 18 in time by November 7th, time to vote. And that's an interesting demographic, because they don't understand or believe that their vote has any effect. And so those have been interesting conversations to say, well, you know, it affects what you get for lunch at school. It affects what you study at school. It affects what books you read in the library. Everything about your life is connected in some way to politics, and people don't understand that.
And what are you seeing in terms of voter interest this year? And has it changed since the switch at the top of the Democratic ticket?
Yeah, I do think there's more energy, especially among young people. And so we are seeing, again, a lot of energy, a lot of questions about how to vote. Yeah. So many Ohioans have not voted since the laws have changed. We now have one of the strictest voter IDs requirements in the country. And so we're doing a lot of education to make sure that folks who maybe haven't turned out recently have a voting plan in place so that they can cast their ballot and have their voice heard.
And if they don't have a driver's license or a passport or a military ID, do you kind of emphasize that free state ID, that they can get the picture so that they can have that ID with them?
It depends. So if they're an out-of-state college student and they have an out-of-state driver's license, we don't want them to get a state ID because it will make their out-of-state driver's license invalid. And I think a lot of young people don't realize that that affects insurance and all those things. So it really depends. But yeah, there are many folks that free state ID is a great option. So yeah, that list, again, because I think it's important to keep reiterating, is an Ohio-issued driver's license or state ID that you get from the BMV, U.S. military ID, U.S. veteran ID, active duty military, including Ohio National Guard, passport, book, or card. One group that I think could be confused is our veterans, because most veterans that I know used to use their county-issued veteran ID that no longer qualifies.
It's a state issue.
Ohio, U.S.
U.S. issue.
And Davia, what are some of the barriers, perhaps, that you're hearing about for people who want to vote but maybe find it a little bit challenging?
They don't know where to go for their polling place. As polling places have decreased, There's barriers to transportation. I think people don't know, many don't know who is eligible to vote. If you have a criminal background, when are you eligible? Those types of questions. And then I think apathy was the biggest, honestly, barrier, and that seems to be changing in my encounters.
Apathy, interesting.
Apathy.
Jen, what is it about, what are the rules when it comes to people with the criminal record? Can a convicted felon vote? We know that they have, challenges getting housing and perhaps a job. Can a convicted felon vote?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So our laws are pretty good on the books, but not necessarily great in practice because there's so much confusion.
Yeah.
So anyone who has had a misdemeanor offense or is serving time right now for a misdemeanor can vote. They can vote in jail. Anyone who has served time for a felony can vote. If someone is waiting their sentence, they can vote. If they're out on probation, they can vote. The only time they cannot is if right when they are in prison serving time for the felony sentence. The thing that they need to remember, though, is once they re-enter after serving their felony sentence, they need to re-register.
Okay, and even if they're on parole,
Yes.
they can vote too.
Yeah.
Does the league do anything to educate those folks of their rights?
Yeah, we have programs where we go into jails across the state with those jails that allow us so that we can help folks register and request their absentee ballot. And we do also work with a lot of community groups that serve reentry individuals to make sure they're registered and know their rights as well.
So a few weeks left until the registration deadline hits.
Yes,
Then you mentioned that your focus will switch. Then what will you be looking to do after that?
We'll be looking to make sure people understand where they need to vote, helping them get to their polling places if there's a barrier there. And then, like Jen says, it's a year-round. There's a lot of energy certainly around the presidential election, but there are midterms. There are local elections from City Hall to the White House, as we need people to understand that engagement in the political process is paramount. So we start with the big one, right? This is where the energy is, and this is what people can see. This is all the news programs and all of the billboards and whatnot. So we get them engaged now.
And maybe that'll carry over
and
to
we hope to
future
keep them
elections.
engaged. Yeah.
I did want to come back to one thing, too. A recent court ruling allows a disabled voter to designate anyone to deliver an absentee ballot for them to the Board of Elections. It basically expanded the list of originally just family members who could do that. How important is that to be able to allow a little extra help for a disabled voter to make sure that their ballot gets counted?
So the court ruling just brought Ohio in compliance with the Federal Voting Rights Act. And so Ohio's law saying that only certain individuals could allow voters with disabilities to return a ballot was not in compliance with federal law. So, and it did have some serious deficiencies. It didn't include grandkids, roommates, caregivers, neighbors. And so this allows voters with disabilities to choose, as the Voting Rights Act says, to choose their helper as long as it's not an employer or an agent of their union.
And are you hearing from people about that yet, as far as asking questions? Maybe, is it okay if I do this way this time around? Because I think you've told me in the past, it's, some of the limitations for folks is maybe they are disabled to the point that they can't put their own ballot into a mailbox or something. So this
or
is
seal
really
the envelope.
important. Yeah.
Sometimes it's about reading or sealing an envelope or reaching the mailbox or being able to drive. Yeah, absolutely. This is an incredibly important help, because what Ohio did was it made it a felony if you were outside of that list. And that's a concern to think about a grandkid facing a felony just for helping grandma or grandpa return their ballot.
Okay. Real quickly, we only have a few seconds left. Anything you recommend to folks if they want to learn more about this election?
These posters are everywhere. Go to voteohio.org.
.gov.
.gov. I'm sorry.
Okay.
.gov. I know that.
Voteohio.gov.
I knew I'd get corrected if I was wrong. Voteohio.gov. It's a very accessible website. There are paper ballots. We can do it the old way as well. Paper information. The information is available.
And
It
Jen,
is available.
Final word.
Vote411.org is our nonpartisan voter guide, and you can go on there and hear directly from candidates. We don't edit their answers, and you can learn about the issues on the ballot as well.
Thank you both so much for being here. Appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Well, and as we get closer to the November election, we've made it easy to find everything you need to know. Just text the word VOTE to the number on your screen, 614-460-3345, and we will send you a link to our story that includes a list of important dates and deadlines and other information for voters. Next on Face the State, we go to Springfield, Ohio, the city at the center of a political maelstrom. We wanted to know how state and local leaders, residents, and the Haitian community are feeling about the recent unfounded claims made by President Trump and running mate J.D. Vance about immigrants harming pets and wildlife there. Hear what those folks have to say. Plus, video of police arresting an Ohio woman accused of killing a cat added fuel to the fire. What we actually know about the video coming up.
In Springfield, they're eating the dogs, the people that came in. They're eating the cats. They're eating the pets of the people that live there. And this is what's happening in our country, and it's a shame.
Those words spoken on the presidential debate stage shined an unflattering spotlight on one Ohio city. Former President Donald Trump falsely claimed Haitian immigrants living in the city of Springfield are harming pets. Springfield city leaders say there is no evidence or reports of that happening. The day after those comments, 10 TV went to Springfield to find out how state and local leaders, people who live in the city of about 60,000, and the Haitian immigrant community feel about the claims. Governor Mike DeWine and the Springfield city manager say they are focused on meeting the real challenges the city faces, but they also address the rhetoric coming out of the presidential campaign and the debate.
Well, look, this is election season, so we'll all get through the election and we'll move on.
That's what Governor Mike DeWine said Wednesday when asked if he was shocked by President Trump repeating the discredited claims about immigrants harming, even eating pets and wildlife in Springfield, Ohio. He said he has full confidence in Clark County leaders.
You know, I think we should take the word of the city manager and the mayor that they've found no credible evidence of that story of Haitians eating pets.
Springfield City Manager Brian Heck released a video statement Wednesday afternoon.
It is disappointing that some of the narrative surrounding our city has been skewed by misinformation circulating on social media and further amplified by political rhetoric in the current highly charged presidential election cycle.
Springfield is being hit by a massive influx of Haitian immigrants in recent years, as many as 15,000. That's led to challenges in the city's schools, healthcare system, and public safety.
While we are experiencing challenges related to the rapid growth of our immigrant population, these challenges are primarily due to the pace of the growth rather than the rumors being reported. These rumors will not distract us from addressing the real strain on our resources.
Heck says while the rapid immigrant population growth has created challenges, it's also created opportunities.
The growth in our workforce population has supported the expansion of local businesses, contributing to the stabilization of our local economy.
On Tuesday, the governor announced the state is dedicating $2.5 million to help the city with the challenges in healthcare and public safety.
My job is to focus on helping the people of Springfield deal with the challenges they face.
Ohio Senator and Trump running mate J.D. Vance has also posted about the claims on social media. Governor DeWine says he has not reached out to Vance or the Trump campaign about the rhetoric because this information is already so public. 10 TV's Colin Dorsey talked with Springfield residents and a leader of the Haitian community in Springfield who says the rhetoric has stoked fear in the immigrant community.
So you're saying there's no truth to the claims?
No.
The head of the Haitian Support Center in Springfield says the rumors are false. Rose Tamar Joseph says she had no idea these claims were going around social media until recently. Now the phone in her office stays busy with calls of people inquiring about the claims. She says even with no evidence, it's brought a lot of unease to her community.
They have fear, a lot of fears going on right now. Some of them are talking about leaving Springfield. Some of them are scared for their life. It's a little bit tough for us.
The debate over the city's Haitian immigrant population dominated the public comment portion of Tuesday night's City Commission meeting.
It's sad that there's so many distruths and dishonest comments being made about this population.
We talked with people over the lunch hour downtown. People like John Brown believe the claims are false.
There's been no evidence. And what's frustrating is these people are here just trying to make a living, do their job.
James Stewart also doesn't believe the claims being passed around about the city's immigrants killing pets and wildlife.
The Haitian community is here. They're going to be here. They're going to start businesses here. However, we do have an issue with the driving. That could be fixed.
He's referring to a string of car crashes attributed to the population, something which has been brought up in previous council meetings. For Rose Tamar Joseph, she's just waiting for the dust to settle.
It shall pass, and maybe in a couple of months, everything will be okay.
The question remains, where did this all start? As Colin Dorsey reports, it appears that it stemmed from a post on a community Facebook page. Then at the August 27th City Commissioners meeting, a man describing himself as a social media influencer brought up the claims without providing any evidence during the meeting. Another false claim drawing attention to the Haitian community got traction on social media. Video from the Canton, Ohio area shows a woman being arrested, accused of killing and eating a cat in a residential neighborhood. Here's what we actually know about the video. The woman arrested is not a Haitian immigrant, and she was arrested nearly a month ago in Canton, not in Springfield. Coming up next on Face the State, a natural filter. The state is working to install them all over Ohio. How this patch of former pasture is the latest one now helping people, plants, and wildlife. And it's all about water. And a French connection in the city of Hilliard, the new company moving in that will power products and jobs. Protecting and improving Ohio's water quality. That's the goal of the H2 Ohio Rivers Initiative. This week, Governor Mike DeWine announced $7 million in grants for 12 new wetland projects across the state, including ones in Franklin and Delaware counties. The governor made the announcement during a ribbon-cutting ceremony for the new 8-acre Rainbow Run wetland near Springfield. He says the wetland will filter water before it flows into Rainbow Run, which then flows into the Little Miami River. The addition of the 12 new wetlands will bring the total created through the H2 Ohio initiative to 195.
Wetlands are a win-win-win. It's a win-win-win. It is first and foremost a great natural filter. One of the great things that we have in Ohio that gives us frankly, a strategic advantage in regard to other states, and something we're very, very proud of is our water. And we kind of take it for granted sometimes, but keeping our water pure, this is one of the ways that we can do it.
After the ribbon cutting, people got to tour the wetland. It's on private land and had been an unfarmed pasture before it was transformed. The state says the H2 Ohio Rivers Initiative is designed to improve water quality, ensure community health, protect wildlife, and provide opportunities for recreation along Ohio's rivers. Governor DeWine was in Hilliard on Thursday for the opening of the new headquarters for a French battery systems manufacturer. 4C Power designs, assembles, and supplies lithium-ion battery systems in Europe and Asia. The company says it's now using Hilliard to expand operations into North America. The governor's office says the new headquarters will bring at least 150 new jobs to the area. Lithium-ion batteries are a type of rechargeable battery used in many electronics, such as phones and electric vehicles. Thank you for joining me this week for Face the State. I'm Doug Petcash. I'll see you next Sunday at 11:30 right here on Face the State.